and welcome to ChiroSecure's Facebook Live. We're so delighted to be here today. I'm Dr. Sherry McAllister, the Executive Vice President for the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. The foundation is actually celebrating veterans this month in November, and we couldn't think of a better way to do it than to have a true leader with us today. And I'm going to come back to that because having this particular speaker with us today really does change the way things are in the nation. Having someone that really is inspiring, motivational, and has experienced the benefits of chiropractic care. Before we get started, I do want to remind you that the November is celebrating, encouraging, and most importantly, supporting our veterans. And the foundation has done a whole month of infographics, articles, and just trying to get the word out on how much we care for our veterans and how important they are to the security of the United States of America. So thank you all for taking the time today to be with us. You know, over 50% of veterans actually do suffer from a neuromusculoskeletal problem. And it really behooves the chiropractic profession to help and assist. Right now, chiropractic is built into the standard VHA benefits, but I think that we need to get the benefits of chiropractic care out to the veterans, but also let's not forget those that support them, their family members, their friends. It's really important that they too have an understanding of what the veteran is going through. And I like to also add that with understanding the benefits of chiropractic care for those veterans that are suffering, we can improve and reduce the opioid epidemic that we have in this country. And with so many that do suffer with chronic pain, it's important to get that messaging out. Today, we have one of the most fantastic speakers, and we're so delighted to have her and so grateful for her to take time out of her day. Retired Brigadier General Becky Halstead. She has been a constant supporter for the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress and is now one of our speakers for our Drug-Free Pain Management Awareness Month. She's been in combat twice and actually learned the benefits of chiropractic care upon her retirement. And you can imagine the physical stress that happens with a person in the military or any type of service that they perform, that really does showcase how neuromusculoskeletal injuries come to fruition, and that drugs and others can help if it's in a certain situation. But really, when it comes down to it, we need to have a non-pharmacological option that's first line to help our veterans be well. So without any further ado, I want to introduce retired Brigadier General Becky Halstead to take over and discuss with us the benefits of chiropractic care that made a difference in her life. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, Sherry. You almost called me doctor. I always like that. That's pretty cool. So, but thank you very much, Sherry. And thank you for all those who are watching on Facebook. What a wonderful opportunity, especially in November, being Veterans Day and everything else, for me to have the privilege to spend just a few moments with you and talk a little bit about my personal experience in the military, but more importantly, how chiropractic care really changed my life. So first, let me just say 3 decades in the military. I was a soldier. As Sherry mentioned, I did deploy twice, once to Afghanistan and then a year in combat in Iraq from 2005 to 2006. Just prior to going to Iraq, I was diagnosed with chronic fibromyalgia. And the military at that time, so that's 2005. So, we're already talking now 13 years ago. But at that time in the military, going to the chiropractor was not an option. It was not an option within the military. It was not an option outside of the military because the fees would not be covered. So you would never get a referral to go to a chiropractor. I had heard about chiropractor through my father, but candidly, moving 18 times in 27 years, it was hard enough to find a good church, let alone try to go out there and find a good chiropractor. So I really didn't experience it till I retired. So I was diagnosed with chronic fibromyalgia, no chiropractic in the military. So what do? They basically depend on pharmaceuticals, right? So prescriptions. So one for pain, one for sleep, one for your nerves going crazy. So by the time I retired in 2008, I was on 15 different prescriptions. Take one of these every 3 hours, one of these every 12 hours. I don't have it today to show you, but I have in my drawer a bag of the prescriptions that I carried around with me in my rucksack for the last 3 years I was in the Army. And candidly, the problem with that is, does it help a little bit with the fibromyalgia? I don't know. What I do know is there was a ton of side effects. So let's think about that also. We have a horrible statistic of 20 plus veterans and active duty members combined killing themselves every day with suicide. One of those reasons I really believe is because of their dependency on their prescription medications. Candidly, I also think that often those suicides are accidental, that they're taking a prescription that makes them feel a little better, maybe make the bad thoughts go away, maybe make the pain go away temporarily, and they don't realize that they're hurting themselves, let's say having a drink, a beer, a glass of wine. So I just think that some of our problems, some of our challenges with our veterans is that there's such a dependency on prescription medications. And now with the opioid epidemic in our country, I think people are really realizing, wow, this is actually valid. I mean, people are being told, take this so you feel better. So they take it, then they get addicted to it. And now we have a crisis. And I think the crisis probably started in the military with the war and all of our dependency. So when I came back from Iraq, I decided to make the decision to retire. I was a general officer. I was doing quite well. I was only 49 years old, had 27 years in the Army. I had a great career. But at the end of the day, what people saw in me, they saw a very physically fit person. I could run, I could climb, I had great endurance, but I was not healthy. And I think that's the difference. When you don't have chiropractic in your life, you might be fit, but you're not healthy. And so I needed to get healthy. I needed to do more than just look physical and look good. Although I will tell you, when I look at pictures, you can see how white I was, how that kind of 1,000-mile stare. Yes, physically, great weight. I could run circles around people, but I was lacking a clarity in my mind. I was struggling to sleep. And when you start having all these challenges, I think as a leader, it can, if you're not careful, show up in your work. And I believe that my soldiers deserved the best leader that I can be. And I looked in the mirror and I didn't see that person anymore. And I do a lot on leadership, and leadership is about those that you lead. And if I could no longer do that for them, then I needed to retire and wrap my arms around this thing called fibromyalgia and figure it out. So I retired in 2008. And just before that, I had met Dr. Carol Ann Malizia, and I don't have time to tell that whole story, but she is, Google her. She's a phenomenal chiropractor. Her sister was my West Point classmate, and I met her, and coincidentally, she met my mother at the same time. And my mother said, hey, I don't know if you know it, but Becky has fibromyalgia. And she approached me and she said, you don't have to live in pain. She kind of poked me in the chest, and I'm like, hey, I'm in uniform, can't poke a general in the chest. But anybody knows Carol Ann, she can. So I did wait for almost 2.5 years before I did anything about that introduction. When I retired, she was the first person I reached out to, because I could tell how sincere she was about the fact that the profession that she was in could change and make a difference in me. So I called Carol Ann. Before I knew it, I was at her clinic in New York. I was cleansing. I was taking standard process. I was doing all kinds of things. I was getting adjusted frequently. I was learning about my body from the eyes and the mind and the heart of a chiropractor. And in my professional opinion, there's nothing better. And as I went through this process for about a year, the medications dropped off. Within a year, I was on no prescription medications. I still have some issues with sleep, but nothing like I used to have. During this process of kind of recovering and healing, I kept thinking, man, if I had this in the military, I could still be in the military. I could still be a leader. I could still be doing what I love. And as I went through this process for about a year, so Dr. Carol Ann asked me if I would be willing to be a spokesperson for the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. And I said, absolutely. Who would not want to talk about it? I mean, if something great happens to you and in your life and it's a great influencer, why would you not want to share that? So I said, sure. So I spent the next 2 years, I'd say maybe 3, really diving into chiropractic and going out to the different associations, state associations, the different colleges, and just talking as much as I could to people about why this is so important. Now, candidly, when you're talking to state associations and you're talking to colleges, those people already get it. We have to be talking to the people who don't get it, so that they will push for the law to be changed, for our policies to be changed, specifically in the military, and that's where my focus is. I've spent time talking to the leaders of TRICARE, the leaders of the military, but it is glacially slow because the military is so huge and our veteran base is so huge that everything that we do, whether we're introducing a new weapon system or we're introducing some sort of new healthcare, you have to have patience, and it takes time, and it takes testimonies, and it takes advocacy. So I would just urge everybody watching this that you have a story, tell your story. This is my story, but there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of stories. More chiropractors should tell their story. So we've progressed. We now have chiropractors, mostly government civilians in the VA. We have them on the active duty side. And I think that's really important for our military and our veterans to know that access to that care is available. It's still a little burdensome to get to the chiropractor. Some places you need a referral, but whatever it takes, I can tell you, I would be willing to do whatever it took to get to a chiropractor when I was in the military. So now I'm at a stage in my life, I'm at a point in my life where I'm so much healthier than I was the year I retired 10 years ago in 2008. I'm maybe not as fit now, so I have to figure this out. I have to get the fit and the healthy together. So as I enter my 60th year, I'm kind of back on the treadmill. I'm back to really trying to be fit and healthy, and I would encourage everybody to do that. So the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress is probably the leading organization and really letting people know that we need to do more for our veterans. Chiropractic is an answer. In this opioid epidemic, chiropractic is an answer. And so I would encourage all of us to be advocates for this incredible profession. So Sherry, I think I'll give it back to you to kind of close us out today, but thank you for inviting me, and thank you for all those who care about our veterans and military.
Outstanding, Becky. Thank you so much for being a leader and someone who advocates and shares their story and really stand up for the veterans so that they too can get the first line care and the benefits that a chiropractor can offer. And you're right, it takes time, and every small step makes us move forward in the right direction to help especially those that are suffering in chronic pain, and there's many out there. Chiropractic is a first line approach. It's safe, it's cost effective, and it's a great way to really, like you said best, Becky, not just be healthy, and not just be fit, but really truly be healthy from the inside out and optimize your performance on a daily basis. Because really the greatest gift in life that we all have and that we all need to recognize is our health. And when it's impacted, it affects every single thing we do, as well as every single person in our life. So I want to thank all of you today, especially ChiroSecure, for the kindness of having us on this Facebook Live. And thank you again so much, Becky, for being such a steadfast and important person to share the message of what we're trying to accomplish, which is non-pharmacological care for those that are suffering. And lastly, don't forget, next week we'll be with Sam Collins on November 27th, back on the ChiroSecure channel. In the meantime, if you would kindly like us on Facebook, go to the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress on Facebook and like us, and you'll be able to find out all of what we're doing and how we're sharing the benefits of chiropractic care to the nation. I want to thank all of you for joining today. Happy Thanksgiving. Be grateful for the lives around you, and we'll see you in next week. Thanks so much.